Hello everyone. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at an article from CNN. It was published on August 23rd and was written by, we're not even talking a beta male, we're not talking a gamma male, we're talking at the end of the Greek alphabet. We're talking an omega male, and that's not meant in a good way. This cuck of a bitch, David Williams, for CNN, on their behalf, decided it would be a good idea to try to blame all men for the Mollie Tibbetts situation. What they're doing in this article is they're trying to say that the murder of Mollie Tibbetts, which this murder by illegals is becoming a problem. I mean, it's becoming a trend. They're trying to say that an illegals problem is a man problem, as in it's a problem with men. It's all men's fault. And this soy boy, if you can see here, if you have it full screen, this omega male of a cuck, clearly a feminist ally, and probably one of the ones that's going to end up being outed for sexual assault or assaulting a woman in another way, you know, like beating her up or some shit. I mean, you just look at this guy and you look at the article that he wrote. This guy is a real piece of fucking work. So they're going to use this woman here. Her name's Jessica Rudd, a woman in her 30s going for her doctorate, as their poster child to push this narrative that it's a man problem on why Mollie Tibbetts died. It's not an illegal aliens problem, according to CNN. And they wonder why they're called fake news. They are trying to completely rewrite the factors to what happened to Mollie Tibbetts, so that instead of it being someone who came to this country who the first thing that they did was break the law when they entered it, being an illegal alien. Excuse the motorcycle, I have the window open. But you have an illegal alien. Wow, that destroyed my train of thought here. Anyway, you have this illegal alien who does the first thing, entering the country, break the law. They murder someone. And that's on all men? No. That's not how it works. That's on the illegal alien problem. Because the people that are willing to break the law to enter this country are going to be more willing to break other laws in this country if they haven't broken similar laws in their countries of origin or the countries they've traveled through to get here. That's kind of common sense. So, we've got their little poster child here, Jessica. I mean, before I move on, look at her. She's not even that good looking. And they're trying to portray it like she gets harassed by a lot of men. She's kind of on the fugly side. I mean, if you look, she's got one eye cocked off uneven like the other. I mean, she's kind of looking like, you know, if Sloth had a kid with a normal chick, at least in the eyes, she's got that going on. She looks like Sloth's kid with a normal chick. Her grill's, you know, crooked. She's got the runner's body, the marathon runner's body, which if anyone who's seen Family Guy has seen the episode where Brian gets into running, I'm sure she's got that type of thing going on herself there. She's no catch. She's no prize. That's why she's in her 30s, single, with like 14 cats, and that's besides the fact of being a feminist. Looks are a factor in that too. Jessica Rudd has been running for 10 years and says she gets rude comments or some other form of harassment from men at least once a week. At least once a week. What's her idea of harassment? What's her idea of rude comments? Because I got a feeling that when she's running, she thinks that she's, you know, the priority, that everyone else, they have to wait on her, and if she's doing that, and she's interfering with the flow of traffic or something of that nature, or even on this running on the sidewalk, interfering with people doing that, I'm sure she'd get a comment, a rude comment. We need some context, because those rude comments would be justified, because she'd be acting like an entitled shit. Now, what does she consider harassment? A guy saying hi? I mean, she is a feminist. That probably is harassment to her. You know, two people passing each other, going in the opposite directions, running, her and say a guy, and he goes, hi. To her, is that harassment? Probably is. The Atlanta PhD student runs 30 to 35 miles a week. Oh yeah, she's got that type of runner's body from that Family Guy talks about in that episode. More if she's training for a big race, and often while alone. When someone harasses her, she grits her teeth and tries to ignore them. So, when someone, you mean, let me translate this. You mean when someone interacts with her, she grits her teeth and tries to ignore them? Because heaven forbid, you know, a man interact with her, passing her on the street, and just say hi, or excuse me, or out of the way if she's taking up too much space. You never know. It's hard to always tell if it's meant to be funny, but almost always it comes off as sketchy, Rudd 33 told CNN. Yeah, a woman in her 30s that's single, that runs 30 to 35 miles a week, that's going to have a body that is not going to make any man, you know, attracted to her. I mean, she's got an issue with the face, you know, and she's got runner's body. She's got a lot of things going against her here. So she's probably a man-hater, because they don't pay any attention to her. Not to mention the fact that she's a feminist. I mean, this is ridiculous. They're trying to use her, as I said, to be a poster child, to try to shift the blame of an illegal alien problem onto men. With this beta cuck, well, sorry, omega cuck of a man pushing this shit. There's a world of difference between catcalls or wolf whistles and the fatal violence that befell Mollie Tibbetts, who disappeared last month after going out for an evening run in Brooklyn, Iowa. Which, it's sad when a place in Iowa has something happen in its namesake. Because I'm assuming that Brooklyn, Iowa was, you know, it was clearly founded after the fact of Brooklyn, New York. So you never know. It was probably, that was its namesake. And they're having the same type of shit going on. Illegals killing citizens. Authorities say her suspected killer, Christian Bahena Riviera, followed her in his car as she ran along a country road before assaulting her. You gotta love how they shade that. He followed her in the car before assaulting her. Let's call it what it is. He stalked her before he got out, got shown that she wasn't going to give him the time of day, because he was stalking her like, ooh, hot girl. And then when he got treated like that, he murdered her, or allegedly. Because he hasn't been convicted yet. But Tibbetts' case has raised safety questions for women runners, a startling number of whom say they have faced harassment or worse from men who seem to view an athletic woman in shorts or jogging pants as an invitation for lewd or frightening behavior. Well, here's the thing, you omega cuck. Women like your poster child in, say, jogging pants, or we'll say, you know, yoga pants or something like that. It's going to be fucking frightening, because she's got no body fat on her. She has nothing on the note of attributes that would have a man think of her as attractive as with being a woman, especially with the child of sloth thing going on with her eyes. This is ridiculous. This is a safety question because of all men. All men are bad. This is because of men. No. Trying to equate the murder of a young girl by an illegal alien, a shitbag, a fucking waste of space, with all men is vile, it is disgusting, it is dishonest. And you need to be called out for it, which is why I did this video. Now, also, if a woman wears attire, and I'm sorry to say this, yes, you can wear what you want, okay? But this is the same idea that speech has consequences. Your attire has consequences, and that's not exactly the right word, but to an extent it does. So if you wear something that allows for guys to read your lips, and I'm not talking the ones on your face, if you do that, they are going to possibly look at you. More likely they're going to look at you. They may even approach you because, hell, being able to read your lips, if you're an attractive woman, they're getting a preview. So if they can see, if something looks like it's painted on, and they can read your lips, and they can make out your ass like what it would be like without any clothes on. Men are very visual. If a man gives you a comment, so what? He's not assaulting you. He's not like a dog trying to hump your leg. You chose to dress like that. You could wear, like they had in the 80s, those running shorts that women used to wear that were kind of like, not frumpy, but they were not skin tight. You couldn't read your lips in them. They flowed with the body. They were still flattering, but they weren't slutty. This is one thing I don't understand. Women want to be able to walk around fucking naked and then not get a reaction. Whether it's from men, like, or women being like, you're being real slutty, or whatever the case may be. They just want to be able to do that and force society to accept them doing that, and that's not how it works. If you go out dressed like that and a guy compliments you, okay, like Ari Gold from Entourage, there's an episode where he's running in the hills, and there's this mom with a carriage. She's running, pushing the carriage, and she's wearing spandex, and he's like, "Got MILF?" You dress like that, you should expect comments like that. I'm sorry, but that's how life works. But there's a difference between a guy making a comment because you dress so that they could read your lips, and an illegal alien murdering someone. Big difference. Survey finds widespread harassment. In 2016's Runner's World asked its readers, how often, if ever, does a stranger whistle at you, comment on your body, needlessly honk at you, or give you other similar unsolicited sexual attention? I'm sorry, I started to laugh before I finished it, because this is a hilarious freaking survey. What if they're getting honked at because they're in the way, because they're running in the road? And if you're dressing to where they can see your nipples, read your lips, okay? Make out the sweat line perfectly between your ass cheeks. And make out your ass cheeks perfectly. If you're wearing clothes that pretty much leave nothing up to the imagination, if someone whistles at you, comments on your body, does something like that, you should expect that. Women used to dress that way wanting that type of attention. Now they want to dress that way and go, you better not give me that type of attention. That's sexual harassment. You are literally baiting men to do something like that, to compliment you on your body, or to compliment you on how fit you are, which I'm sure they're treating that as complimenting them on their body, saying, oh, wow, you're in really good shape. That's got to be complimenting on their body, I bet. But you're purposely dressing like that So that you can literally go, I'm being sexually harassed. That's what it comes down to. We're not stupid. We figure this shit out. You should maybe figure out that we're not stupid and that you should probably get a clue. Because if people keep letting you get away with this, you're just going to keep taking more. But if we call you out and say, you're dressing like that, wanting the attention, but when you get it, you're using that as the means to play your victim card. Sorry, don't fucking work. Go fuck yourself. If we do that, the shit stops. Then maybe they won't dress to where you can read their fucking lips. I mean, this is ridiculous. 43% of women runners said they sometimes or often or always experienced such behavior. Only 4% of men did. Well, yeah. And here's the thing. 43% of women runners said they sometimes, often, or always. So they literally took all of it. Sometimes would be even the almost nevers, like once in a great whiles even. They took anyone who was ever perceived having an unsolicited sexual advance, like, I don't want to say advance, but that has had unsolicited sexual attention. That's better. Towards them. If they perceive it as that, and it was whatever, would you know there are going to be those always? Those are the feminists who are so full of themselves that sniff their own farts, that think that they're like a goddess, and they're usually fucking homely, don't shave, and I ain't talking about like their legs or their pits or anything else. I'm talking like their faces and shit. They got like mustaches, and their eyebrows look like two caterpillars, and yeah, their hair is like, 16 shades of fucking fluorescent colors, those types. I mean, this is ridiculous. So now they're going to move into court documents about the whole Riviera thing here. According to court documents, Riviera said in an interview that when he approached Tibbetts, she pulled out her cell phone and said she was going to call police, and that made him get angry. Well, he's an illegal. This isn't about men. He's an illegal. She's about to call the cops on him because he is being, creepy. And this is a man problem. No, he didn't want the cops showing up because then they would look into his background and they would see that he was an illegal and he would get deported. Let's call things how they are here, CNN. And you wonder why people call you fake news. CNN contributor Simone D. Sanders argued this week the main safety issue in the Tibbetts case was not Riviera's status as an undocumented farm worker from Mexico, but his toxic masculinity and the suspect's unwillingness to take no for an answer. No, it wasn't toxic masculinity. It's because the guy is a sociopath. She rebuked him. He sniffs his own ass, thinks he's great. He's like, why is she rebuking me? He got pissed. He could not take no for an answer is right, but it had nothing to do with toxic masculinity. Because if she said no to a guy from actual Brooklyn, Iowa, I'm sure he wouldn't have killed her. Or pretty damn sure. So let's be honest. It was the actual fact she would not take no for an answer. And then she said, look, I'm calling the cops on you. And he's thinking, oh, shit, I'm going to get deported. Fuck me, eh? Oh, no, this bitch, I'm going to have to kill her. She's going to rat me out. And excuse my bad, awful Mexican sarcastic accent there, but that's the gist of it. And here's Simone's tweet. Mollie Tibbetts was murdered because she told a man to leave her alone while she was jogging. Her murderer happens to be undocumented. This isn't about border security. This is about toxic masculinity. Mollie Tibbetts lost her life because a man couldn't take saying no. Full stop. No. You see, this is the delusions of the blue check marks. This stupid bitch might actually believe this. She could just be pushing propaganda with this, but she might actually believe this. She was murdered because she told an illegal who was raised in the third world, where culture is different, where these things that happened that he did, were types of, well, because I get so much going on in my head with this. I'm getting a little tongue-tied here. What he did to her are the types of things that are commonplace where he came from. They're, I don't want to say socially acceptable, like on the idea of like acceptable, but they are accepted by society as things that happen. So, him murdering her is an illegal alien problem, is a coming from the third world problem. It's about the fact that it's not that he's undocumented, it's the fact that he's fucking here illegally, as an illegal. This is about border security, because let's put it this way. If the border was secure, would he be here? Would she be dead? I would love to hear Simone answer that. If the border was secure, would he be here? No. Would she be dead as a result of him not being here? Of course not, because he wouldn't be able to kill her. This is ridiculous. And then they go right back to the whole survey thing again. The Runner's World Survey found that violence against women joggers is rare. Only 3% said they had been grabbed, groped, or otherwise physically assaulted. But that doesn't make the other behavior less frightening. Oh my God. Complimenting a woman, they're equating to violence. This guy is such a fucking gamma cuck. Holy, no, he's an omega. I'm sorry. Wow. This omega fucking cuck is trying to equate saying, hey, baby, as a girl runs by, to violence. Seriously. 30% of women said they had been followed by a person in a car, bicycle, or on foot. 18% said they had been sexually propositioned. 5% said they had been flashed. And 54% of women said they were concerned, at least sometimes while running or getting ready to run, that they could be physically assaulted or have unwanted physical contact. Now, where was this survey done? Was it New York City? Was it in the rural area? Did they spread it out across the country? I mean, that's also going to affect your responses here. And the thing is, the whole situation that they're trying to portray here is that this illegal alien, oh, well, she would have still been murdered because it's toxic masculinity. If he wasn't here because the border was secure, she'd still be alive. That's the one thing that they keep avoiding because they know it destroys their whole argument. This is ridiculous. To protect themselves, women told Runner's World they've changed their running routes, brought their phones with them, or told loved ones where they'd be running. Holy shit! Those are things that you should be doing anyway. They're common fucking sense. You should take your phone with you. If you're worried about being stalked, change up your route. If you're going out for a run, definitely tell someone where you're going to be. That way, if something happens to you, they know. That used to be... People used to actually, oh, I'm going out, I'm going to be going here. They would tell people that before the days of cell phones and shit. So if something did happen, they would know where they were. This is ridiculous. And they're trying to make it sound like, oh, well, they're now having to do this stuff that people used to do for the fact of common courtesy, common sense, and stuff like that. Running coach Eladio Valdez told CNN affiliate WDAF that women should be aware of their surroundings and try to run with a buddy. Yes! Everyone should try to run with a buddy. I don't care if you're male or female. If you're running in the inner city, like you're running through New York City, you sure as shit should have a buddy. If you're running through Chicago, especially, the gang-controlled areas, you better fucking believe it. Detroit, anywhere, run with a buddy. Run armed. It's common sense. You find people to run with, even just one person. That will dramatically lower the risk of anything happening. And if you do like to run by yourself, pick well-lit, highly populated roads with other pedestrians or cars, he said. Yeah, this is common sense. This is shit that people would have done 20 or 30 years ago. But now, all of a sudden, having to do that shit is an imposition and violates what a person should be, it infringes on a person and makes it so that they can't just go out and do the stuff. No, it was never said that you couldn't go out and run by yourself, but there are inherent risks. Or walk through an area, take a walk or whatever the case may be. But it was common sense to go, hey, I'm going from here to here. Just so you know. Now that people are saying, hey, it'd be a good idea to do that again, it's blamed on toxic masculinity. Oh, these people are fucking stupid these days. It's probably best to just keep running. Rudd said she hasn't changed her training patterns because of the Tibbetts case, but she always takes precautions to stay safe. Oh, because of that toxic masculinity. It isn't the fact that if the border was secure, this fucker wouldn't have been here and she'd still be alive. Oh, no, it's toxic masculinity. And even though she died because of the toxic masculinity, you should just keep running to show it. That's what they're... Wow. This shit's fucking ridiculous. She doesn't run in unfamiliar areas after dark, and she won't run alone in places that may be dangerous. On a recent work trip, she used an app to find a recommended route and checked with the hotel concierge to make sure it would be safe. The Atlanta woman says she's usually too focused on her runs to react to abuse, so she tries to tune it out. I love this. Now it's just they're calling every interaction abuse. Because that's what it's getting at. Because I'm sure this sloth, child of sloth, 3 cat owning, no man in her life, built like a concentration camp victim because of her running, piece of work, takes the fact of any interaction from a man as abuse. She just seems like the type. What's really upsetting to her is when men or women who don't run downplay the harassment or ask why she would put herself in bad situations by running alone. Oh, translation, you mean the fact that they call her out on her bullshit and she gets upset and acts like a triggered little bitch? I think I figured out who she is. They based that fucking psycho running bitch in Grand Theft Auto 5 on her. I would put money. They based her on this woman. So, when women who don't run, women who do run don't downplay it and say, look, you're fucking talking out your ass, I run? Oh, sure, they probably do too. And men are going, well, yeah, you're blaming all of us. I never did that to you. I highly doubt all these men did it to you too that are out here. So, yeah, you got men going, you're blaming all of my gender. Fuck you. This is ridiculous. I don't necessarily want to get in my car and drive 30 minutes to meet other people at 6 in the morning, she said. I just want to open my door and run outside and get it done. Okay. You can do that. But if you're running outside and you're wearing shit that guys can read your lips with, you should expect to have comments. It's the idea of speech has consequences. Your attire is no different. You shouldn't be able to go out there dressed provocatively to where guys can literally make out your body and know what you look like naked without seeing you naked, and not expect that one or two might say something, or that some guys might find you attractive and proposition you. And I'm not even talking sexually. Be like, hey, you want to go get a cup of coffee? Hey, you want to go get a drink? You want to go get a meal? You want to go running together sometime? Which, you want to go running with someone? There you go. And I bet you a bunch of those guys that have been running and came up on her. I've been like, hey, you want to go running sometime? But yet, she'd rather run alone. I mean, that's common sense right there. So, he's talking about running with someone. Well, I don't want to go that way. Well, I'm sure more than a few of those guys who are probably decent human beings and men, I bet you they would have, that propositioned you on the note of, hey, want to go for a run together sometime? I bet you they would be good people to go running with. She confronted her harasser and punched him, and he punched her in the face. Now she's fighting back. What the? Oh, it's an unrelated article, but yet it's right there. Okay. Rudd said the harassment she faces is usually verbal, but sometimes a man will try to touch her butt or block the sidewalk, so she has to run into the street to avoid accidentally brushing against him. Oh my God, she is so fucking full of herself. Because a guy doesn't want to move out of her fucking way, because runners, anyone who lives in a city or been to a city with the runners think that they fucking dominate the place. They think that they dominate the fucking sidewalk because they got to keep their pace. Now, I bet you with how hardcore she trains, she's one of those types. And this guy was like, you know what? Fuck her, I'm not getting out of her way. And because he's like, fuck her, I'm not getting out of her way, now he's some fucking sexual deviant? No! Because you know what? I've actually gotten to the point where I've been sick of runners, and I've done the same fucking thing. Man or woman. I'm equal opportunity. If you're fucking gonna dominate the sidewalk, fuck you. And that's what I'm gonna bet was more the case than the brush against you bullshit. That sometimes makes her want to turn around and sock the man, but she fears it could provoke even more violent response. Well, yes! If you, for a guy that doesn't want to let you, dominate the sidewalk, because I'm guessing that's more of the situation. If a guy doesn't want to let you dominate the sidewalk, and you turn around and clock him, if it's down south, women tend to be raised. If they hit a guy, they deserve to get hit back down there. So yeah, you should expect it. But if it's like, New England and the Northeast, we're raised not to hit women, period. End of story. So you might get off lucky. But if I was a guy, just to make your life a living fucking hell, it's not the fact that I'm a beta cuck. It's the fact that the bitch deserves to go down legally. I'd have your ass arrested for assault. So you just keep running like it didn't happen, and then you're mad at yourself because you wish you did something, she said, but it's probably best to just keep running. No, it's probably best not to dress like a marathon slut where guys can read your lips and women can read your lips, and your nipples are clearly made out, and literally guys can figure out what, and women too can figure out what you look like naked without actually seeing you naked, because your actions have consequences. But see, dumb bitches like you and this omega fucking cuck of a bitch who wrote this don't understand that. Women should be able to just get away with everything, and there should be no consequences to their actions because, yay, feminism! This is fucking stupid shit. You are literally pushing this shit, trying to create this bullshit propaganda of it was toxic masculinity on why Mollie was murdered, on why Mollie Tibbetts does not have a future, on why her parents had to bury a child. It was toxic masculinity. It wasn't the fact that this illegal came across the border who, if the border was secure, wouldn't have been here and wouldn't have murdered her. Let's ignore that big glaring fucking fact. Rudd says she doesn't bother changing her running route after someone bothers her because I would have nowhere to run if I did that. Oh my God. This bitch is fucking ridiculous. I could run on Peachtree Street in broad daylight in front of police officers and a guy on the street will still say something to me, she said. Most of the time, no reaction is the best reaction, so I just try to tune it out. Okay. So, if a guy will still say something, so, hi. She proved my point right there. So if a guy says hi, it's harassment. If a guy says, oh, you're in great shape from your running, harassment. If a guy says anything like that, or excuse me, or yeah, if he says something to her because she's running down the sidewalk dominating it, excuse me, as she fucking goes running through, fucking taking, you know, up the whole fucking thing. It's harassment. This is their poster child for trying to make it sound like it's a toxic masculinity, men are evil problem, not an illegal alien problem. This is ridiculous. I had to cover this, like I said. And I've done that well enough up to this point, so I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.